Here we go. 1 second. Okay. Hi guys, sorry. I know I've been not around lately, and I apologize for that. Hoping real hard that will all change on Wednesday morning when we go for what I'm hoping will be our final mediation session with my son and his IEP process. So send good vibes for that. Alternately, I wanted to review a couple things for my 3 days at the fair people and hit on a couple topics that I got to enjoy at the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference in Boston last weekend. It was super duper fun. So, but first, and if I forget what I'm talking about, someone remind me. I don't have my whiteboard behind me and I cannot go downstairs because I will definitely not be able to finish a fucking sentence because all my kids are there and waiting for me. So, let's start. 3 days at the fair. So, I covered this in a stream a while ago, and I have to be really careful about written content because it is easily passed around and you guys are paying a lot of money for private content. So, that means you got to keep up with the content. And when I say to you guys, when I have a video with the hashtag 3 days at the fair, when I say I'm streaming, please go watch. Try to catch up later. You don't have to drop what you're doing and come see me that moment, but there might be relevant information in this video for you. If you want to appoint someone in the group to be like, I'll take the bullet and go watch and tell you what you need to know, that's cool, because I'm a little surprised still that some people don't seem to know how important the plyo is. So we're moved into a final phase of training. We are off, hi honey, we are off of the trails, we are back on the roads, and we've got exactly 10 weeks left to get really adapted. And I say 10 even though I know we've actually got a little bit more time than that, but we only have a little bit more time than that because taper. Okay? Right at this point, we're doing a lot of stuff that you haven't seen in a while. We've added in a lot of new elements. You've got a lot of jumping. You've got the mashup long run, which incorporates every neuromuscular stimulus element I could possibly think of. And in a way that would make sense, break up the run, but not totally destroy the run for you. So, and I made it really clear, I thought, when I released these and said, hey, if you have to cut your run short, do that, but do not ever cut the plyo at the beginning. Do not ever cut the plyo at the end. If cutting the run short means we take a mile off, it doesn't matter. That what it is, you are training for 50 fucking miles. What matters is that you're consistent. What matters is that you get the long run done. What matters is that you're on a road the way I tell you to be, because specificity is a thing. And what matters, and I mean, if the weather's terrible, don't use common sense. It is better to be safe indoors on a treadmill and not break something than they go outdoors because you're too good for the treadmill, it's really boring, it's not specific enough, and you want to do it right, and then you break a fibula and can't go at all. That would suck. Let's not do that, okay? Use good judgment. I know I want winter to be over too, but it isn't. So I really wanted to go for a run this morning. It would have been better and easier for my day if I had gone for a run this morning, but there was a lot of ice out there. Much of it was black and couldn't be seen in the street lamps. So I elected to go later in the day, even though it totally threw my day off, after driving by the gym and seeing that it was completely full and everyone else had the same thought process that I did. So, if you have access to a treadmill, please, for the love of God, use it. Even if you have to cut it, 20 minutes is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. Do what you can. Do not, if you're staring down a day and you're like, I've only got 15 minutes, give me the plyo and then run. One set of plyo. If you have 15 minutes, I'll take one set of plyo and whatever time you have to run after that. Again, it is better than nothing. Hashtag 50 fucking miles. Do what you can and don't worry about what you can't or about making it up. What you need to focus on is what can I do, and do that. Always, 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 okay? The biggest thing I'm not going to have patience for, and I've had a really long day, guys, so this is not if I sound angry, it's not coming at you. It's coming at the 45 minutes I spent driving around Denver looking for fucking diapers tonight that I shouldn't have had to do, but Mercury's in retrograde. So, with that, What I don't want to have happen is we get to race day, or we get close to race day, or I'm reading your training logs, and I was like, Coach, I'm not getting faster. And I'm like, well, you've been doing the plyo. No, I haven't had time, but I got the runs done. I will not engage further on that topic with you. I won't. If you aren't doing the plyo, if you aren't doing the speed elements, if you aren't doing the high knees, if you aren't doing the strides, if you aren't doing the 1-2 punches, seriously, I will not discuss your pace with you. I will not discuss speed improvements with you. I won't. The reason we're doing all of this is, yeah, I did find diapers, thank you. Finally, one box. They had one box at King Supers on the other side of Spear, which was, yeah, Alex, that's how far I had to go get diapers sent, but we have some now. And luckily, the Baby Fit pull-ups, and that just made me cry. It's like, we've got a couple pull-ups left for Shiloh. And she, like, stumbles around all proud of herself, and I'm like, you should be able to fit into those. But anyway, so there's that. But the reason we're doing all the plyo is to, number one, really increase the joint adaptations faster, right? We're trying to get 20 weeks of joint adaptations out into 13. And we can do it because science is amazing, but we can't do it if you aren't doing the things that ask you to do. Those, every time your foot hits the ground, even when you're jumping up and down, critical adaptations are happening in your feet and ankles that will benefit you on race day. So I promise you, do the work, you'll see the results. I know it's boring. I know it's tedious. I know it makes you feel a little ridiculous. I don't care. But I don't care what you look like today. I care about your performance on race day. I care about your ability to withstand 50 effing miles on a 1 mile loop. I care about your ankles being strong enough that if there's a rock on that loop somewhere around midnight, that doesn't like roll your ankle, deter you, and throw you off course. Like Dean Karnazes, if you go to my blog and you see the Nuzzle outtakes are up right now, he is managing the first DNF and the first major injury of his career, and it came from a dead battery and a headlamp and a rock. Not even a big rock. He kept the rock. It's a small rock. It's a rock that, like, embarrassed him. I want better than that for you guys. And not to say that, like, we can guard against all things, but we can do some of the basics, okay? So a lot of the plyo, it's those foot adaptations, it's the ankle adaptations, it's hip adaptations, okay? And it's base strength. The other reason I have you doing the high knees, remember, and the strides. These are neuromuscular adaptations that lead to speed if performed consistently. Okay? Strides really are the key to life. You need to do them every day. I beg people to do them every day. I hope I get 3. Everyone is like, I really want to go to the track and do some speed work, but they won't. It's like, I can't give that to anyone that won't do the unsexy speed work, those elements that really will make you faster. I promise. When you practice that fast leg, that artificially fast leg turnover in skipping, in the Tennessee walking horse taps with your leg, right? Kicking out and focusing really on that kick and throwing your foot out there. When you're doing that, when you're doing the strides, when you're doing the high knees, pulling your legs up and down as fast as you can in place, that is basically the biomarkers. We are imitating the biomechanics of fast running. It's the stuff that we would put you on the track to get. What we are not doing is adding impact forces of having to pull your body forward while we do it. So it's a really efficient way of knocking out the speed work, basically. So that is speed work. So I finally give you guys speed work. And I'm always shocked when people are like, no, I chose not to do it. Like, why? Because it wasn't a trap rep, because it wasn't something you've seen before. Just do it. I know. And Julie, I'm really sorry that you've been having that problem with your heel. I know you want to blame the high knees for it, but I think the jumping, the high jumps that I have you doing right now in place, I'm much more worried that would be doing it, because you'd be going down on your heel and using your whole foot in a way that we really haven't been lately. So be sure when you go see your PT, you take the list. And I don't think I finished that in Canva and got to put it up on Instagram. Leaving was a shit show, and then I didn't have the time in Boston than I expected to have. So sorry, I'll try to get that up tonight. But I probably won't, and more than likely it'll go up tomorrow. But when I do, take that list of exercises to your PT. We have really upped the ante in a lot of ways in this training cycle, but not so much that I would expect anything to be presenting in your heel. And I do think that heel toe jumping action could be what's doing it for you, Julie. So, well, I'll be interested to see what the PT says. But hey, we've made it this far with no major injury, nothing slowing you down. You ran 50 effing miles already and felt fine the next day. So I will take it. I know that right now, like throwing in these elements has been a bit of a time suck. The drills. Oh yeah, sorry. All of the drills. So you've got plyo, those are drills. Ultra plyo, at the beginning of your workout and at the end of your workout, those are drills. The 1-2 punch, those are drills. The SSSCs that you're doing, those are drills too. Anything that is, so not everything that we do strength-wise is a drill. Everything in general, but everything that we are doing in these 13 weeks is a drill. And the difference is really we're not going for strength. We're trying to maintain some of the strength in the big muscle groups that we have. And a drill is basically anything that leads to that faster neuromuscular function. So the artificially fast leg turnover. Strides are a drill. High knees are a drill. Bounding is a drill. Anything jumping is a drill. Anything that doesn't pull your body forward when we do it, like the jumping rope in place, that's a drill too. So it is when I said drills was going to be the name of March and most of April. What I didn't emphasize was that these elements are coming in and they're not going anywhere. So it's like we're introducing all of these drills week by week, and they are constant until the taper. So basically everything. Okay. Yay! The second thing for my fitness protection people, and I know some of you are watching right now. I only got 5 people, but I don't really care. This will be going up on YouTube later. It's March, and that shouldn't give you a little bit of pause. So a whole bunch of people found out last week that they were accepted to the New York City Marathon. Yay, you! Training for the marathon really starts now, especially if you think you might care about performance. The marathon is an unforgiving distance. It rewards specific preparation. I like to say anybody with a base modicum of fitness can knock out a 5K respectively well. Anyone with a higher base of endurance fitness, like if you do a whole lot of Soul Cycle, if you do a lot of spin classes, those classes that last for at least an hour, you are primed for a 10K. Maybe if you do a whole bunch of that stuff, like a lot, almost compulsively, you could probably knock out a half. But that does not work for the full, and it never will. And it's one of the reasons why I like it, and it's one of the reasons why I recommend it. Because the lifestyle, when you're training for a marathon, you are meeting the American Heart Association guidelines for heart health. The way that I tell you to do it, that's always in the back of my head, and that underpins every single training plan that I write. I'm making sure that you're getting enough cardiovascular activity, true heart strengthening activity, and what happens to fall out of that is the marathon distance. So that's why I do 2 marathons a year. But if you think about that, there are 52 weeks in a year. I like to take a couple weeks off in between. That's 2 20-week cycles. It sounds like a long time, but it's not a lot of time. So even though the New York cycle really won't kick off until June, it's March, April, May. We got 8 weeks, y'all. Really. So a strong fall is built in the spring. I don't want you going crazy right now. I don't want you going crazy ever, but I do want you being attentive. I do want you checking out the calendar, and I do want you making that connection between today and the 8 weeks from now when your training plan begins. Now is really the time to start establishing that running habit, making sure that you're getting out the door no matter the weather, at least bare minimum 5 days a week, so that we can it makes it easier when the weather's good to get out of bed once you have the habit now. Fighting for it now will make it come easier later when it is actually easier because the sun rises more earlier. There's no ice on the ground. The weather's better. And everybody just generally feels a whole lot better. So go with that. A strong fall is going to be built in the spring. And it's not about having to cut your run short 15 minutes here or there in the training cycle. Matters less because you really started your training cycle now, if that makes sense. So if you haven't really been running consistently, if you haven't been paying attention, then once we get into that 20-week cycle, the pressure is on if you're really going to care about your finish time. Then now we have to be like, well, you've been cutting your Tuesday morning runs short by 15 minutes pretty consistently. That's going to add up. So not saying do it now so you can slack later, but rather the pressure isn't there and if life gets in the way, it won't impact the outcome so much. So there's that. I can't make people tell time or think ahead. But, if you got in New York and you threw your name in on a whim, and I know some of you did, and that's okay, I love you still, just saying, better now than never, better now than later. Let's go ahead and get started getting that habit right back in place, and then we'll ramp up the long runs later. So there's that. I can't remember the other thing I wanted to say. Oh yeah, 50 fucking miles. So so for you guys, it is, I know that again, it's winter and it's tough. And a couple of you doing 3 days at the fair feel like you're behind. I promise you, you're not. You're not. Even if you have to cut runs 15 minutes short on a regular basis, all of you have been going consistently for well over a year. So that's one of the reasons why we can do drills now and substitute for a longer weekday long run. A lot of long run ultra plans have you running in 90 minutes on Monday and Wednesday and much longer runs on Saturdays and Sundays. We're able to do less time because you've been more consistent for a longer period. So I'm proud of you. You're doing really advanced stuff. And I know you don't feel it because you don't know what advanced looks like. In Hal Higdon training plans, advanced means there are numbers and paces in there. Advanced means the workouts are kind of complicated and a pain in the butt. No offense to Hal Higdon, they're great workouts. But it's like 600 meters, like 4 sets of 600 meters with 1 minute with 30 seconds float, followed by 10 sets of 200 meters with 1 minute float. And I'm like, if you haven't spent a lot of time on a track, that's kind of esoteric and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm not saying that's in one of his plans, I just made it up. But a lot of his plans look like that, right? So it's not like 1 mile here, 1 mile there. It's like stimulus, and it's kind of and it's all over the place. So that's what an advanced plan looks like in basically a lot of these, up to a lot of different coaches. So I know that you might not recognize that what you're doing is advanced, but I assure you it's quite advanced. I can't get people to do the things that you guys are doing. So if you miss it a day or two, that's fine. But you are doing like just the 1-2 punches. I have never used that workout as frequently as I've been able to with you guys, right? And you're doing it, and you're thriving, and it's a gorgeous thing to watch. So yeah, if you have to cut 15 minutes off a run, I don't really care. And if you can't do the plyo then, but find yourself with 5 extra minutes later in the day, do it then. I don't really care. The workout don't need you to like it just needs to get done. And the timing of it, it's not critical. If mentally you need to walk away from it and say, this is my time to work out, and I don't want to fall into the toxic American trap of filling every spare second of my life with a side hustle, much less a workout, cool. I get it. All I'm saying is, if we have to cut things short, make sure you don't cut the drills. Make sure you don't cut the plyo. Make sure you don't cut, you can cut the warm-up down to silly toes, that first section, but I think like as long as you're doing the hip openers and the final section of drills with the bear crawls, if you're doing those at least 3 times a week, that's fine. More is better. Like doing it all of that daily is better. But if you can't do it here and there, that's not a problem. It's only a problem if we look back over the past month and we realize, hey, every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday you're not doing drills. Let's talk about that. Right. And I'm not even keeping track of it that closely. There are too many of you. So, and not all of you put that in Training Peaks, and that's cool. You don't have to. I just want you to know that you're kosher lived, you're winning at life, you're not as behind as you think you are, and you're doing all the right things. 50 effing miles. If you're doing the plyo, if you're doing the warm-ups, if you're doing the drills in the middle of the run like the mashup runs like I'm telling you to, then we can miss 15 minutes here or there because you guys have been doing this for well over a year. We're just trying to pull you as far up the curve as we can without getting you injured before we get to middle of nowhere, New Jersey. So, yay! That's it. I think I had something else to say, but I don't remember what it was. And it's so quiet downstairs, it's scaring me, so I feel like I need to go sort that out in a few minutes. Yay. Any more questions, I'll be in the Unicorns thread later. Feel free to throw them out on the Facebook page, but other than that, I'm going to record a mantra. Yay.